then it would be able to pay the debt servicing and probably defense. And pension, still there is no spending on that. So this is unsustainable. The taxes which should be collected by the provinces are not there. The devolution to third tier didn't happen. So do you think we need to roll back some of this or as an emergency case, or we need to move to the third tier? Because you see the provinces are strong, federal government is not, and that's making the situation very extremely vulnerable.
Thank you so much. I think very valuable and candid question. I think through the last NFC, not the 18th Amendment. 18th Amendment was later, but let me explain. I was involved in both in the first one indirectly. I had left the government already, within 6 weeks. But obviously, consultation as and when. We shifted the resources from federal to provincial too fast and too much. It was actually not 57.5. The federation used to collect federal government 5% collection charges. And then the remainder would be divided 57.5 and 42.5. If you recalculate of the total pie, it's almost 60% to the federal government and 40% to the provinces. It has virtually reversed now. The collection charge was reduced to 1, the last NFC, jiski wo postage stamps and Gwadar. I refused to go there, by the way, for this postage stamp. And for 57.5 reversed to the other side. So virtually federal government is having 40. And the provinces are having, including the adjustment of the lower admin charge, is 60. Now you're absolutely right. And I think that we need to find a solution. So far, the NFC, which is supposed to be every 5 years, we have not been able to finalize. The Constitution says that once given, you cannot take back. That's another issue. I still believe there are solutions, but obviously I will not share those solutions here. I tried those solutions 2014-17, so that we come up to take care partially this problem. But obviously, even my own provincial government in Punjab would not agree. Obviously, they want more money. This was followed by 18th Amendment. And the idea was that the social sector and health, education, etc. should be shifted. The entire expenditure and mainly the development expenditure should be picked up by the province. Unfortunately, despite the concurrent list was abolished, you have seen that all those ministries in some form have re-emerged in the federal government. So you're still bearing those admin expenses. Secondly, you're still carrying many programs which actually now be stricto sensu financed because they are much bigger. 20% of the divisible pool is a lot of money. It's almost 1/5, extra going there and reduction here. So this problem is there. I have few ideas, but in the national interest, everybody agrees. Otherwise, maybe I have to come with something which will be very drastic.
Will this be an integral part of the Charter of Economy?
Listen, I will ask an indirect question and a very benign one. Is the security only for the Islamabad, or the security expenditures is for the entire Pakistan to defend the? So I think it's fair that some contribution has to be from the divisible pool, from the gross, and likewise the debt servicing. So these are two big expenditures.
Do you think non-compact defense expenditure should be curtailed in Pakistan?
The things here never get curtailed, once given is never either, you can't take it back, so we have to find some way forward, some solutions, and I'm thinking few, but it's too early to just give, before it will start, it will be killed, so I think I better keep it to myself. We'll think some out-of-box solutions, but I think solutions have to be there. Otherwise, this debt will continue to balloon. You will continue to be having high fiscal deficit unless you double your income, but still 60% will still go to the province. I agree with you.
It's a very important point you have made. I just like to move to the last section of our conversation, and maybe we have a few minutes for the participants. The last part of the question is about the expenditures. PMLN government is credited with the Protections of Economic Reform Act back in 1990s. You were champion of privatization. You managed to bring down fiscal deficit. But now we're talking about the public expenditures, which is rising, and floods have become a major challenge also, post-COVID situation. So I know that reduction of a public expenditure is not easy. However, given the resource constraint we have and the sort of wasted resources on especially SOEs, I just want to hear your views going forward on reduction of these expenditures, SOE reforms, and where do you see on your agenda?
Well, I think it's a very important area you're touching. Surely we need to privatize whatever we can privatize to stop the bleeding and an extra burden on the federal budget. We are in that process. We are trying to finalize some transactions, but there's a long process in our system, and everybody who works in these departments and or divisions, they most of them have got scared up from NAB. So nobody wishes to work, because even if they do with the complete 1000% honesty, they feel scared that tomorrow they'll be called and asked multiple questions. So having said that, yes, we have to the expenditure, you see, in my opinion, very less flexible, particularly on your running of the administration, the current expenditure, which obviously includes the debt servicing. There we have a room, in my opinion. But the security, as I said, that normally, I have not seen anything going down except in 90 post detonation. There was a symbolic reduction of 7 billion. I remember negotiating with General Musharraf at that time in the expenditure. So I haven't seen that ever there has been any decrease in the defense expenditure. So the debt servicing does have a room. If we can manage to control the inflation, which we started in 2013, and we managed to reach there where the inflation went down to 5.25 in 2017. 4.68. So to give the positive rate of return, the policy rate was 5.25. Imagine even today, if it is around 6% against 16%, how much would you save, in terms of debt service? There is a space, but we have to put then macroeconomic indicators, on the right direction. And once you do that, obviously, that's the only, or increase your revenue. Your first question was that broad base, etc. But that here is a space which we can certainly, provided we can bring the inflation down, which is obviously very high right now.
Right. Thank you so much, sir. We have just 5 minutes because Mr. Rao has a meeting with the Prime Minister. I will invite Dr. Manzoor Ahmed to pose a question. If that may be very quick, just a question, no comments, please, and then we move.
No comment. Thank you very much. Just 2 points. One, building on Ali Salman's point. When you're short of resources, you don't dole out subsidies. And one of the first things you did was to give 100 billion on energy subsidies to whoever, and some other subsidies. My second question was, which you didn't respond, was what Ali Khidr said, that previously, when you took over whatever on the imports, we were collecting 37%, and by the time you left, it was 49%. So we are afraid that these subsidies will be collected as indirect taxes and customs, etc. And once again, there was a similar in 2014, this reform, and they came out with all sorts of additional duties, regulatory duties, and since then our exports never recovered because you put so much taxes on imports that nothing can come, nothing can go out, and exports are never a priority. So can I...
I'll answer you both questions. But you see, subsidies, look, who is being subsidized? First of all, you think that your neighboring country has announced 300 units free. You can't afford it. And I think it's a responsibility of the state to look after those who are the lowest in terms of income, who can't even have a living mean. I think we will be heartless. We just said, no, there will be no subsidy. So targeted subsidy. I agree with you, the subsidy should be targeted. And that's what even the multilateral says, that the subsidy targeted is acceptable to them. So we try to stay within the targeted subsidy. And that is only for example, the flood, effectees. Sorry? On the one side, you are campaigning that exports should be increased and their imports cost has gone up. Now, when APTMA is given electricity on a fixed rate, which actually compensates them for the different government dues on their imports, imported component of the exports. So it's the same thing. So you see, we did give them, we calculated in 3 months of exercise in September 2016 to December 2016, and it worked out to be around 9 to 11 rupees, different products, 9, 9.50, 10. So that's why we gave them average 10 rupee, per product, per dollar they earn at that time. There is, if you recall, 180 billion. So I agree. So, but you see, you can't just ignore that because subsidies will cause a burden, then perhaps tomorrow somebody will say, close this social safety net program. What is the need of income support fund to be given? So I think we should be, balanced in our approach, and we should allocate whatever we can conveniently allocate. And I remember this income support fund I introduced in 2008 cabinet, and it was a national income support fund. The blueprint of the budget which I left when I resigned the middle of May, because the judges could not be restored, it was 34 billion. And the National Income Support Fund was announced in that budget. Amount was not changed, but the journey it traveled from 2008 to 13 is 34 billion came to 40 billion. When we had 2013, we substantially increased. We increased the number of families. We increased the quarterly stipend. I think they, the state owe to them. We all owe to them who simply cannot live without that. So we increased to 144 billion at that time. Now it has further increased. So I think we have to create a balance. Your second question, obviously the exports. We should obviously do whatever facilities we can give to increase our exports. And I think the turf was a scheme whereby 400 billion at very almost nominal 1% rate was given by the state. I have no issue with that. But they also added up 500 billion. So that's why you got export increase of $4 billion due to that. So that is an area I think we should aim at. If we can have 12 to 15% of GDP in exports, we are in business. We don't have to depend on the external borrowing.
I think that impact.
Mansoor Saab and Pervez Saab, and then we will have to close. Mansoor Saab, either. Just take 2 quick questions and then we will wrap up.
Okay. We set up the country's first technology incubation center at Last in 2002, and we talked about out of box. We have missed hundreds of startup companies who have left Pakistan. Millions of dollars worth have gone to America and Europe because we do not have a very well-defined, sustained structure for innovation economy in Pakistan. 3 of our startups are unicorns today. So the question is, would it matter that if we have an independent Minister of Innovation, because we have small Ministry of IT Telecom doing little bit of innovation, PC1s, then we have HEC for universities. Now we need to go vertically up.
Sure.
And instead of even Pakistanis investing in real estate, how do we attract that money into tech companies? That is the prosperity future of the box.
Thank you.
Yes, you are absolutely right. I think we have a lot of scope, in my opinion, in the IT sector. We can grow our exports, and there's a lot of. So we are looking into this, how we can facilitate your proposal as to Ministry of Innovation. We have right now, if you know, in one of the division special initiatives, there's a planning, development, and special initiatives. If there can be, perhaps special initiative can be renamed as innovation. It should be separated, and one division can be broken into 2. But I've taken your suggestions. I'll share with my colleagues and Prime Minister. Sure.
Last up, I have a question. We don't have dollars. With the mismanagement with the Ministry of Food Security, we have extra stock of 1.2 million tons of sugar. We can earn $900 million. They have delayed it. We need dollars, and still Ministry of Food Security is delaying it. And unfortunately, farmers are going to suffer. There's a high rate of sugarcane has been proposed, and the sugar prices are low. Farmers will not be paid. Why $800 to $900 million without subsidy? And we have next time we have a bumper crop. And it's not, I'm not discussing, you are not doing it. It's a Ministry of Food, please. It's a very serious situation. Things will go very bad. Today, I'll tell you the seriousness. Today they called me for a meeting at 2 o'clock. In the morning I get a message, your meeting is at 11 o'clock. Sir, they are not serious. Please take the issues in your hand.
Thank you.
मेरी आपसे गुजारिश होगी कि आप प्लीज take back leave from the organizers here. Do attend that meeting, and you have been part of certain meetings I have held on this account. First of all, let me correct your figures. 1.2 million at the current rate will not get you 900, it will get you $700 million. So you're out by $200 million in your numbers. Just let me first, Naji.
Please answer.
It's a dispute between you. I have taken presentation. You were there, National Food Security. We should not be talking in this large crowd, but now I have to because you have raised a question. I'm duty bound to share. They say that your production next year will be 6.2 million to 3 million, and you claim, you mean your industry, not you individually, 8.1 million. So either party has to prove, and you know they have been trying that we should give it some start. See what is the production crushing season has started. I'm doing my best, but obviously I cannot overtake the entire government. I'm not the Prime Minister of Pakistan. I am responsible as the chairman of ECC to try and coordinate. So you have seen I'm making efforts, and
I'm not considering your efforts.
Let's not do that.
Please आप attend करें ना meeting attend अभी meeting attend करें. We'll make a beginning.
You're always taking a good decision, making decisions की बात.
Right.
The only problem is why this has happened again. Everybody is cautious. The scandal which happened in the last 4 years in this country. We have been given he has a witness that I have been giving export permissions, but the price domestic did not increase. It remained 52 to 54. We got about 650,000 metric tons between 2013-17. There was no issue. But here, a new government comes without closing their eyes, not checking the stocks in the country, and allows 1 million, and then allows another 200,000 up to 200,000, and there's a chaos, and then there's import. I mean, there's a scandal. Hundreds of billions rupees have been siphoned off. By whom? So you see, that's why national security is probably cautious. They don't want to, jump in the same boat. So they're extra cautious. And I am a supporter. And we will, inshallah.
Why do the sugar daddies always win? It was my turn. I have a good question.
Last question, Parvez Tahir sahab.
Yeah.
Janab.
Last but not the least.
Janab Farmao ji.
Very simple question.
Ji.
Why does federal government spend money under PSDP in provincial domain? All PSDP is debt funded. So why should you spend money on things that the province should be doing? Secondly, why should be doing PISP as federal government now? And finally, when IMF is mentioned to you at the crab shows, as I call them, or Mr. is mentioned, why do you get emotional? Just state your point of view. We don't want our finance minister to look back and back and back. Look forward. You have an opportunity to fix the structure of the economy. Please focus on that. And don't be distracted by...
Thank you so much for your candid advice. When it comes to Pakistan, I become emotional. Whether I'm in opposition, I am in London, I'm in Pakistan. So I have paid a price for being emotional and imposing fiscal discipline on those who never accept fiscal discipline in this country. Perhaps I'm the only finance minister, and perhaps never before, never after me, somebody will come. And I have paid a price of 5 years exile. So I'm sure you're very privy to that. So I don't mind. It is for the country. And I would advise to every finance minister that he should think that he owes this to God Almighty and the 230 million people of Pakistan. Unless we impose, it should start from me. It should start from my leader. And I did this exactly 2013. The Prime Minister of Pakistan used to have 43 billion discretionary grant. Aapko yaad ho. You can pick up the PSDP, you will find out that. I made it zero on day. The first budget I presented in 5 days. On 12th of June 2013, the Prime Minister discretionary grant was made zero. The Federal Minister discretionary grant was made zero, including myself. So if I can do that, then I will obviously extend the similar discipline to everybody and across the board in the country. If somebody doesn't like it, I can't help it. Only then we will go. We're actually reaching where we reached 2017, but that was very hard discipline and very difficult path I have to tread, and we reached there, alhamdulillah. That means country has a resilience, and we can do that. Jo aapka dusra sawal hai, the first one, I wish the Subas should pick up all this development expenditure. They should.
You have the power not to do it.
So that means neither we do it nor they do it, and the public get ruined. You see, this is the problem. You think that all these mega projects, the dams and the motorways and the highways would have been there if we have been dependent on the Subas? No.
I am not talking of motorways. I am talking of.
Let's not do the cross-talk. Professor, your point is well
ठीक thank you so much. Behral, I wish that jitni jaldi ho jaye to it is a win-win for the federal government and the budget, because we get relief if we don't spend. But thank you. Please raise it to the public and let it be known to the provinces. I hope that it doesn't fall on the deaf ears, that they understand and they follow your very good advice. Ji.
Thank you so much. We have to conclude.
Elephant in the room that we're not talking about is basically,
I can't find one.
but it's there. Dealing with the IMF. Either you deal with the IMF and make sure that we get the reviews done, or that gets delayed and we try other ways of getting finances. So, उसमें ये है कि those channels will not be amenable without the IMF review in place and on board. So wouldn't that be better to get that done?
I don't blame the fund, but let me first of all say that the 9th review in totality, all performance criteria are in order. Had they come in October and reviewed, the 9th review would have been over. I don't want to indulge into global politics, but I did request them to come end of October or early November. They chose not to. You see, we are to be blamed. We created credibility gap as a country. When you make agreed conditionalities, you should think many times at that time, but not later. Once you agree, then you should implement. I think it's honorable and ethically, contractually, you are bound to implement. Again, unfortunately, one has to cite why it has happened. So having agreed a roadmap, your country and the previous government chose not only not to implement, but to reverse what they had done earlier, right? So that has created credibility gap. I don't blame fund. Now IMF wishes to see, keeping in view that experience, not only the previous quarter. Normally they see when they come, how the things are running in the current quarter, which is not under review. But now they want to see all the next 3 quarters. Okay, fine. I'm ready. I'm transparent. I'm prepared to provide them whatever we think is the reality as of now. Now they have extended their request or demand that we should also demonstrate how we would meet the needs of $16 billion required for reconstruction and rehabilitation phase post-flood. Now that is not more than 100 billion rupees will be spent in this year. There was rescue and immediate response requirements of around 90 billion, which has been paid through the budget. 70 billion cash, 25,000 each through ISP, transparent way that's been distributed. But also the reconstruction rehabilitation, it takes at least 5 to 7 years. So if it's going to take 5 to 7 years and worry now, but nobody can obviously, they say the lenders are, the beggars are not the choosers, I won't say that, but the lenders have their own wish list. So a little bit, in my opinion, unrealistic, unreasonable. But since my endeavor is to complete the program, let Pakistan have second time